It's official. Your number 14 St. John's Red Storm has their first big win of the season as they beat the Baylor Bears tonight, 96-81. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Holahan. This is Cap, and we are coming to you after a successful Johnny's win out in the Players Era tournament. Last night, Cap, I was tearing the paint off the walls, if you will, after the loss to Iowa State. But tonight, we are happily celebrating a Johnny's win.
Yes, sir. Big one. Big one for the Big East. Big one for St. John's. And you had to be pulling your hair out. And we just kept hearing this narrative of St. John's can't win the big one. Yep. They're going to beat all the little middling teams. But not only do they win tonight, Jay, they win going away.
Absolutely. And it was frustrating. I will say it was a maybe towards the final 10 minutes, not as frustrating, but I will remember that as more of a oh my God, I think it was kind of the, shall we say, the remembrance of last year, the nostalgia of the Baylor loss last year, where St. John's would get a lead, Baylor would answer, and then it was just this tango, this back and forth. But tonight, thank God, was not the case. St. John's was able to pull away with a nice win.
It was huge, man. And what do you think is the big story from this game? I mean, I was saying the whole time, I think that the St. John's, pouring dirt on the grave was a bit overblown. But what's your big story tonight? What did you see out of this team that was different?
Well, I think the ability to be able to crash the offensive glass, I think was pretty important. We got a lot of second chance points, but honestly, we got hot from the outside with those ISLers. I mean, we made some big threes. We made open looks. I talked about that last night. Bryce Hopkins, he knocked down a couple big threes for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that was the biggest difference, was just being able to hit your open shots. And Hopkins did that, and he had a great game.
Well, yeah, you shot 50% from the three. I mean, if St. John's are shooting 50% from the three, they're going to be one of the best teams in the country. You know, so it was ridiculous. And your stars broke out tonight. I mean, you had 4 guys score major points. Ian Jackson added 14 as well. Dylan Mitchell, man, I mean, he's just – and I think that's what strikes me of this St. John's team is he can come at you in waves, man.
Yeah, and we were just talking about it, before. I mean, Dylan Mitchell is the X factor, in my opinion.
I agree.
I thought he was, myself even, I thought he was kind of underrated in the offseason. I didn't think people were talking about him enough, but he does everything. I mean, he can guard, he can rebound. The only thing he can't do is shoot from the outside, but hey, that's okay. That's okay.
But I mean, with this team, I remember we were talking about this too. It's I saw Baylor go into a press and I was like, I would not advise going into a press against the St. John's team. And Dylan Mitchell's just, I don't know. I'm kind of romantic about wings. They can just do everything in the versatility. He's long, athletic. I mean, he gets in the passing lane. He plays good defense. I mean, he's just, in my opinion, the perfect St. John's player, especially to come off the bench.
Absolutely. And that's it right there. I mean, coming off the bench, being able to give you, those big minutes, especially, in the clutch. And like I said, defensively, I mean, he was staying with Iowa State yesterday. I think he was probably our best defender. And then today, I mean, he did such a great job. And plenty of times, he would get an offensive board. He'd get a miss, put it back up and in. So a really fine job by Dylan. He had that nice cut along the baseline, and Hopkins found him, and he went up and slammed it home. That's when Baylor was making kind of their comeback there. And then I feel like that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the Baylor Bears' sails.
And yeah, I agree. And then too, I think this is that time of the season where I think the teams that are doing well now are starting to find their roles and kind of find who they are as a group. And that was what I was seeing with St. John's is you're seeing who the firepower is and you're seeing who the guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that a lot of St. John's fans are probably still looking for is the backcourt. And I think that's still fair. I mean, personally, I think you got a lot defensively from Dylan Darling, although it'd be nice if he could defend without fouling. Because
he fouls like crazy.
I mean, he got hard. So much foul trouble. Now, the one time where he had whoever he was guarding had his hand down his shirt, and they whistled Darling for the foul. But when he comes off, Sonone and Ian Jackson. I know he's a 5-star recruit for me. Anytime he makes a big plays, he's earning a star, right? Tonight he was up to about 3 stars.
There we go. I like it.
So, But he was aggressive and he seemed more confident as the game went on, which was a good thing to see.
Yeah, and I mean, just getting your offensive firepower too. I mean, Hopkins and Sellers with buckets. I mean,
oh yeah,
and I think that's just going to be huge for the St. John's team because they're going to be in a lot of close games. And this St. John's team has so many ways they can beat you. And I just foresee in the Big East or later on in the season, like you're going to go toe to toe with UConn, you're going to go toe to toe with big teams. Can you in these late game moments find your guy? You know, have your guy to go get you buckets. And I think you're starting to see those roles be defined.
And the other thing about bringing up Bryce Hopkins, and then you talk about Zuby. We should be working inside out rather than outside in, because I really believe there's they're having to draw 2 to Zuby, 2 to Bryce. You're going to get open looks from the outside. Just, you got to knock them down.
And it's, I mean, good luck going toe to toe physically, with the Johnnies. And I think that's what St. John's needs to be playing, is their brand of ball, like you said. And I think there's been times where they're getting caught up in these 3-point shootouts and stuff. And it's like, there's going to be very few teams that can compete with them on the inside.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like when you're going toe to toe down the wire, or just, a team's trying to come back at you, just get to those high percentage spots on the floor. Go inside, pound it inside to Zuby, get it to Bryce, because you don't want to end up in a situation where it's like you're taking dumb shots. Maybe you're trying to dribble through too many guys, you're turning it over, and that can obviously possess some problems.
Yeah, the last thing I would want to see is, us just shooting, like St. John's shooting themselves out of games.
Yep.
If we're going to lose, let's lose the way that we play. So that's what I would want to see if I was a St. John's fan. But, man, I mean, we talked about this stretch. If these were 2 big games going in, how do you feel, now that they've been played?
Well, I felt like yesterday, after I probably took some time to not feel too in the moment about it, I felt a little bit better, because I was like, they just got that kid hot from the outside. I mean, he was, I don't want to botch his name, but he was unbelievable, and we just couldn't defend him, nor could we really defend many of the Iowa State players down the stretch, which is weird. But another thing too is today I felt like we just were able to hit from the outside. Now, yesterday's win probably would have held a little more ceiling when we get into the net rankings, possibly. So I'm going to be a Baylor Bears fan for the rest of the year. And hope they can contend in that Big 12, which honestly, I mean, I'm thinking of it off the top of my head. Kansas doesn't look that impressive this year, at least compared to what you'd expect out of Kansas.
Not yet. Yeah.
I feel like it's really BYU. Arizona might be the best team in the country.
Arizona's filthy.
They're fantastic. They're fantastic. And then you also have Houston, and Iowa State. And I feel like those 4. So I don't see a reason why Baylor couldn't, try and get towards like the middle pack. And we'll see what Cincinnati looks like. But,
hopefully they take a loss to a Big East team soon. But
oh yeah. Well, there you go.
But I think we saw Iowa State's dang good. I mean,
yes.
And I mean, you lose by 1 point. I mean, it really could have gone either way. And that's the thing about these St. John's losses. I mean, Alabama is dang good. I mean, I think Alabama's a wagon. And I think Iowa State, I mean, they just destroyed Creighton today. Like, those are 2 really good teams. And it's not like either team beat you going away. They're both dogfights.
Yeah. The one thing, though, I noticed was we went on those long scoring droughts towards the end of those games. That's something that St. John's, I mean, even if you can just get to the free throw line, generate some type of offense there, because it feels like we get to like, okay, we've gone like 30 seconds without scoring a point. It's like we just kind of get into panic mode. We get stagnant. One thing I liked in the second half about us in the half court, I felt like we were moving around a lot more in tonight's game. Early in the first half, you noticed we were doing too much ball watching. Like, no one was getting to the open spots on the floor. It felt like guys were finally moving. Like, you noticed, and maybe it's because they were collapsing inside more in the second half, but, Oz started to get open from the outside. Ian started to get open from the outside. Even Sannon started to get open from the outside. So I feel like a lot of that, we started to do better as the game went on, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no question. And it's just good to see that growth out of this team, because I think, like you said, they're an inside-outside team at heart. So I think that's just, you want to see them play to their identity.
Absolutely. And one thing in the second half, and this was right away, I mean, it turned into a defensive clinic from us. Like Baylor
Yeah.
it seemed like they weren't ready for us to come out with a little more intensity, a little more firepower.
And it should be. I mean, if I'm
Yep.
a St. John's fan, I'm saying we've got the guys to just be ridiculous defensively and on the glass. Like, so if anything, if I'm a St. John's fan, it's like as long as I'm getting good shots and we're playing good defense and rebounding the ball well, I can live with that. But I mean, also, like you said, it's going to come down to execution at the end of games too. Like, and so that's the only thing I don't think we proved in this game as St. John's is like, because this was a kind of a blowout. To be honest, which is great, obviously, but I'm interested to see their next close game and how that goes.
Exactly. And we'll probably be seeing it tomorrow. I'm not sure who they're going to be playing yet.
Yep.
And we'll obviously hope that it's going to be a win against maybe a ranked opponent this time. And like you said, a situation where it's a lot closer of a game, and we see how St. John's does. Although personally, I would like it to not be, but be nice to see that, if you will.
Yeah, no question. But this has got to be a positive one. I thought it was interesting hearing. I feel like the whole team was pissed off. I don't think you were alone. I got to think that the locker room after the game was pretty rough.
Absolutely, and I think at halftime today, someone must have stood up there and was like, the way we're playing in the first half could come back to hurt us like it did yesterday. We got to turn it on, and St. John's did just that. They obviously, got it going, which was different than I think what we have seen thus far. Even in the Alabama game, I felt like we were kind of trading blows and each team was going on runs.
True.
Iowa State yesterday was just like, we'd go up 5 or go up 7. They'd cut it back. And then it just felt like we were just playing catch up.
And I would think that this is a St. John's team that can put teams away pretty quickly with that defense. I mean, this should be a team that can play some prevent defense a little bit against some opponents and kind of squeeze that ball.
Absolutely. I mean, you got the size. I think they've got the speed. They were showing it. I think it was at halftime. The level of hustle down the floor by St. John's. I mean, they were recovering.
Exactly.
They were recovering well. That's a lot of, Rick Pitino getting on them. But one guy that I think a lot of St. John's fans are a little weary of right now, that they're like, hey, what's going on, has to be Joe Sansanin. I mean, 2 games, really not a lot of noticeable things. Now, granted, a lot of guys around him were performing, but I feel like when he's been getting his looks on the outside, sometimes he's not taking them, A, and B, he's not hitting them. So that's something that has to come together. Thank God Isaiah Sellers, though, got hot.
Oh, man, firepower. And that's just going to be interesting because I think Bryce is a dude. Zuby is a dude.
Yep.
And it looks like Oz is kind of taking off too. But that can be tough, especially on a team like St. John's that has such high expectations. It's like getting your looks and finding your confidence and finding your role.
Yeah, and, he's a guy that people were talking about all summer long. He was getting NBA draft looks. And, a lot of people were wondering whether or not he would declare. But as a couple of my buddies were saying, a St. John's alum, they're like, yeah, okay, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, right.
So he's going to have to prove that. And, I mean, there's enough time. You obviously can. You just have to improve, and hopefully he's going to do that.
Yeah, no question. But I think overall, is this the most positive St. John's game of the season? And I don't really think it's very close. I think this was kind of your first big breakout win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking about yesterday against the two teams, the Alabama game and the Iowa State game. That's probably the best we looked. And I think, you're talking about a loss. But this right here was by far the best game I think we played. I would even argue to say, because we started off sluggish against Bucknell, and even William and Mary wasn't that great. I would argue to say this is just the best period, wire to wire, St. John's has looked, personally.
I think so too. And I mean, this was the third real test of, and I think Baylor's good. I think they're better than they might be, on a ranking perspective. I think this is a dang good Baylor team. But I mean, to play a really tough team like this and to kind of whoop them, this has to be, this is a bit of a statement in my opinion, for sure.
I think it is. And like you said, I mean, if you just got embarrassed like you did yesterday, I shouldn't say. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say embarrassed, but a rough loss like you did yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're St. John's, as you mentioned, you're going in that locker room. It's a prideful team. It's a veteran team.
Yeah.
You're feeling a little ticked off.
And I think that
Absolutely.
speaks to the standard here. I don't think this is a team that's expecting to be, 15th in the country.
Yeah.
I think this is a team that's expecting to make a run at a Final Four national championship. So I think that's kind of where the bar is. And I think that's a tough thing about having a high expectation team is anything but greatness is a letdown.
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's something that when you look at, a lot of those top teams, you talk about UConn.
Mm-hmm.
UConn is going to, even off a win, they're going to look to get better and better and better.
And we saw them melt down after losing to Arizona without two of their starters.
Right.
I mean, it's like, goodness gracious. I think Arizona might be the best team in the country, and you're missing two of your starters, and we saw them lose it. But
yes,
I love the expectations, though. I mean, you're not content with mediocrity, nor should you be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what great teams have to have. And if you're going – and especially if you're looking at what's going on here in the Big East, you're needing quality wins in this non-conference. Little nervous to look at the Seton Hall score.
I've been sorry if I've been looking at my phone. It's 78-78 with 27 seconds left. They've allowed USC to kind of climb back into it a little bit after a huge first half. But also, too, this was a big win for the league. St. John's. This was a big win for the league.
Absolutely.
The Big East was not projected to win any of the high major games today. So for St. John's to come out, I think St. John's actually was a 4.5 point favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I didn't take a look. I didn't see the live line, but update USC is up by 2. They just knocked down 2 free throws. Now, this would be a good one. USC is a pretty good team.
Oh, USC is an awesome team. This would be a big upset for Seton Hall.
Absolutely. It looks like Shaheen's taking a timeout. I love how, we're all turning into just fans of each other's team at this point.
We need each other.
I know.
We need each other massively, especially in the non-con. And, I mean, this is going to be a league, especially, too, and say what you will, the NCAA tournament picture is going to have a big impact. It isn't necessarily indicative of how good your league is. Yeah. But if we get 3 teams in the tournament, it's a tough look.
And, this Players Era tournament, you can really get some good quality wins. I remember, was it last year or the year before, Oregon had a really big tournament. And I remember thinking, man, Oregon's going to be a really good team. And I can't remember exactly where they were seated last year in the tournament, but they were solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge opportunity to pick up big wins, and the Big East needed it, and the Big East had a really nice day yesterday. I mean, Seton Hall was a huge breakout win, and it looks like they're legit. I mean, huge. Yeah.
They're going to be competitive.
Huge couple days, which we need because it looks like Creighton stinks. Now, to be fair, I think Iowa State's dang good.
I do. I agree. And that's weird about Creighton, too, because it's just things just aren't coming together.
No, I was seeing today on Twitter, is Doug McDermott just a Ryan Kalkbrenner merchant? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been there, it seems like, since 2015. But I honestly think the Creighton hate is a little bit too far. I mean, it's still so early. I mean, it's November 25th. But it's not good. I mean, they are playing very soft, but I still think ultimately they're going to be decent, but they've got a lot of work to do.
I mean, if we keep it up, we always, for whatever reason, struggle when we go out to Nebraska.
You and everybody else, brother.
They'll probably get a quad 1 win out of us. And
Omaha might be my least favorite place to play in the Big East. I mean, I agree. Brutal. It's brutal. I mean, obviously UConn's a gauntlet too, but playing out in Omaha, it's awful.
I would say for me, I mean, Creighton for us has always been a real bugaboo. I would also argue Providence is always tough just because of that atmosphere.
It's insane. Yeah, formerly the Dunk. It's crazy.
Yep.
You have eyes on this game? Looks like there's about 13 seconds.
I'm trying to go back and forth. Looks like, the USC got the steal.
Oh.
Yep.
I was hoping I was gonna have happy pirate pesto instead of sad pirate pesto tonight. That's unfortunate, but even though they lose, it does look like they're going to lose. Huge win for Seton Hall yesterday. Huge for the league.
I'm also eyeing Villanova and Old Dominion, and Nova's got to turn it on here.
They're struggling. It's close, and Xavier played Old Dominion, and that was Xavier's first game where we looked decent, and we whooped them. I mean, to be fair, it was at home, but
30.1. Yeah,
Villanova is a team I expect to be pretty decent.
Yeah, it's interesting about Nova, because I'd like to see them against another top team. I feel like they've gotten better since the BYU loss, and BYU just beat up on Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
I don't see why, Villanova. I think let's see, their next big game's Michigan at Michigan.
Ooh.
That's going to be tough.
Ooh. I mean, let's see what happens in the second half. I mean, I think a lot of these games do happen where it's like a close first half, and it wouldn't shock me if they win by 25.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see Villanova climb up a little bit, but it's been wild seeing these Big East rankings. Big for Seton Hall, but Creighton, man, because coming into the season, Creighton was a lock, to be dancing. They have a lot to go.
It was supposed to be UConn, St. John's fighting it out for the top 2 spot, and then the biggest lock was Creighton sitting there third.
Big time.
Team that could hang probably with either one of us.
Big time. And now I think it's obviously your top 2, UConn, St. John's, and I would call Georgetown a lock right
yes, now. I'm yeah, when they beat who did they beat earlier? Maryland. That's when I was like, okay.
I was like, whew, whooped them. And that's on the road against their big rival. I was like, oh boy. I mean, it is Ed Cooley's 3rd year. I think he's got them rolling. I mean, and they have all the pieces. I think KJ's a dog too. They got some dudes. Yeah,
Georgetown's a team that I'm very eyeing, ooh, that could be a tough matchup. I might be going down to that game at Capital One Arena. Last year, I'll say this, it was so depressing sitting in that arena. And this year I think it's going to be electric with the St. John's fans and Georgetown fans. Unfortunately, it's on New Year's Eve, which I don't know why you scheduled it for New Year's Eve at 6:30 or something like that.
Well, I don't know. People were expecting Georgetown to be good.
True.
At least not this good. I mean, I saw them as low as 8th or 9th preseason rankings. But what a year for the Big East if that's your top 3. To have UConn, St. John's, and Georgetown battling it out. I mean, that would be electric.
And especially if you get the Georgetown diehards to come out. I mean,
Georgetown's been a sleeping giant for years. And, I mean, if they can really come up, and I think Ed Cooley's a pretty big-time coach, if they can really get going, I mean, it would be massive for the Big East.
Well, yeah, and they like that that NIL funding that you have with Ed too, which obviously is big for G-Town, and I feel like they're pretty together, with the chemistry. I will say that about St. John's, I feel like that's something we're still working on. You notice there are some errant passes that it's like, okay, if you guys were probably together last year, maybe you'd know where he is, type of thing. Now today, Bryce sees Dylan diagonal pass and beautiful feed.
Yeah.
Cross court along the baseline. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, Georgetown has that upper hand on, say, St. John's right now where you have that kind of built-in chemistry. But hopefully St. John's it's a 1-point game with 3 seconds to go.
I know. I've been looking at it in the corner of my eye. It's brutal.
You can take solace, I think, in that USC appears to be a pretty good team.
Yeah.
And it's a good look for Seton Hall. I mean, there's no shame in losing to USC by 1, whereas last year they probably would have gotten, well, USC was pretty bad last year, but say a team that was, comparative to USC this year, they might not have, hung around.
I don't think there's any shame. And I think it doesn't look like Seton Hall is going to win. It looks like USC, went to the line. I think they're going to have 2 seconds to get a 3 off. So it doesn't look good for Seton Hall. So in my mind, 99% loss there. But going into, 2 days ago, I mean, Seton Hall's dynamic has completely changed. Right. And to go wire to wire, they came out real strong against USC today. So that's a huge one for the league because we've been dying to have a team step up in this league.
And I viewed Xavier's loss the other day against Georgia the same way. I mean, there's no shame in losing 1-1 to an SEC.
Because we looked awful to start the season. I said that this was the worst start to a Xavier season I had ever seen, bar none. It wasn't even close. I mean, the loss that we had at home against Santa Clara, I was like, this team might win 2 games in the Big East if we're lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad. So for Xavier to at least bounce back a little bit, we beat West Virginia pretty handily the other day. So you're starting to see some of those teams rise up a little bit. I mean, got to get Creighton going, but Seton Hall starting to punch, Providence starting to punch a little bit. So we're starting to see a little bit of that filling out here. Yesterday was a big day.
Absolutely. And going back to the game itself, to the Players Era Championship, one thing I gotta, are you surprised by how low the attendance numbers at that place?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the sentiment on Twitter on this players era thing is crazy.
Yeah.
It looks like the fans are just absolutely not having it. I mean, because it seems just like a corporate shill. That's
Yep.
what it seems like. Have you watched? I mean, you've watched some of it, of course, but like,
Yeah.
look at the court, dude. I mean, it's an ad fest.
Yep.
I mean, there's a restricted area advertisement. I've never seen that before. I mean, so it definitely seems like it's a corporate shill, and I think you're seeing a lot of like the big names, shill it, and it's not a good look. It doesn't look genuine. So I don't like that, but it doesn't seem like college basketball is reacting well to it.
No, yeah, I agree. And when you think about the amount of talented teams that are there and the very little turnout, which granted, it's a lot of teams like St. John's, you're going from New York all the way out to Nevada. Now they'll travel, but can the same be said for a lot of other teams that are also in this tournament? Like
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Because these are fan bases that travel. I mean, these are basketball schools.
Right.
I mean, like Gonzaga, for example, it was a dead environment. I'm like, Gonzaga didn't have to go far at all. That school is basketball centric, insane. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's I didn't really look up ticket prices because if I'm not going, I'm not really looking at it. But
fair enough.
I'm curious if that held a lot of people back.
I mean, I would assume so. It wouldn't shock me if they were pricey. I'd actually like to do some more research on that. But college basketball is clearly cool on it. Not having it.
Yeah.
It seems like it's like a cold war of like legacy media versus like Twitter burners right now.
And what's hilarious about it is I know someone covering for St. John's and he said you can literally hear people's conversations in here.
And then too, I mean, certain things like I don't know if you saw Joe Tipton's tweet. I mean, he shilling it, and I'm not here to shill him or go after him or anything like that. But he had a video and he said like, "Oh, great crowd," and you could see the crowd. There was like 14 people. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like it was definitely less than 2,000 today for St. John's Baylor.
Yeah.
Last year, if you go back and watch the highlights of the Baha Mar hoops, that was an electric crowd. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was a great game back and forth. Personally, I think the Baha Mars Invitational might be the best. I mean, there's a lot of really good basketball that goes on down there.
And I guess too, it takes a while for something new to take effect. I mean, you'd look at so many things in history and it's like, oh, well, they didn't take well to it the first year, but so give it some time. I do think the NIL opportunity is pretty cool. Honestly, that's going to be huge for every school, but it has definitely been not digested very well.
And the one thing I'm also going to say is the officiating down there is so ticky-tack.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's a lot of ticky-tack fouls. Like some of the fouls I'm watching, I'm like, you do that Big East play, that's not a foul.
Did you hear the call from the Creighton announcer?
No.
There's just an absolute electric radio call from the Creighton Baylor game where he just loses his mind.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'll tag you when we get off here. It's fantastic.
Because let me tell you what, I completely agree. There were a couple today, and you could make the argument both ways, where it's like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem. And again, too, I mean, you go to the Maui Invitational, it's got years of history, and you've got the Hawaiian shirts, and the paint looks awesome. It's had years to flesh out. I'm not shilling it. I'm not getting paid to talk about the players era, but I wish I was. But so far, it ain't it. And then too, it's just a weird look. I mean, there's not a piece of dead space on that court. I mean, it is just advertisements everywhere.
It's a weird look, and it's a little bit of a strange format because, like I just said, I don't know who the hell we're playing, and I'm not sure if are we going to know by the end of the day? Like, that's something that I'm like,
I was looking at the same thing. I mean, for there not even to be a predicted matchup or anything on it, I'm just like, what's happening here?
And I heard, was it Candace Parker tonight? She said, it's tough for the assistant coaches because how do you scout? Like, we're playing tomorrow,
This might be a good crash course on the NCAA tournament a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you got to have these, and maybe one assistant has one scout, one assistant has the other scout. That's probably how they're doing it. I know that's what Xavier's done in the past, but it's a mess.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like you've got so many of these teams here. Just have a traditional bracket format because really, it's going to be an outstanding bracket with all these teams in it. It's
Dude, that's
unbelievable.
so true. You got to have some kind of format. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do 6 scouts.
Yes.
I mean, it's not feasible.
Yeah, exactly. In less than 24 hours. Now, granted, your opponent has the same problem, but then it's like, all right, then that's not really great basketball that we're going to be watching the next day, you know?
Who's complaining with a bracket? Like, what?
Yeah.
What? I just don't know what problem that's solving.
Exactly. And it's funny because you've got some teams in this like UNLV that you're just sitting there like, I don't know if you guys really belong in here, you know?
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, Rutgers, like Notre Dame. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, well, what's going on? And then we've got some banger Turkey Day matchups too. We've got Wisconsin Providence and Georgetown Dayton, a couple really good matchups in my opinion. So it's going to be fun, man. Dude, Feast Week is not disappointing.
Oh no, and you know what? I said this earlier today. It's more and more looking like the college football bowls. You know how you got like some just random bowl games? I mean, the Conference USA and like what conference is UNC Greensboro in? Is that Big South?
I was actually doing this the other day. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm looking it up.
And like a couple American athletic teams, they're in a tournament in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's like even some of the mid-major teams, they're putting together their own shindig.
And I kind of like that. Southern Conference, by the way.
Southern Conference, yep.
Southern Conference. I was just doing this trivia with my roommate the other day, so believe me, I get it. I like that though, but I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with the bracket personally. And I saw a tweet today like, "Oh, this feels like the NBA Summer League." I'm like, who's asking for that?
Yeah, exactly. Like
the Summer League is the most dead environment you'll ever see. Like,
yes, it's like
this is not college basketball, and I think that's what's being lost is it doesn't feel like a college basketball environment.
Right, and even I mean. Well, it's also the new rule this year, the continuation foul.
Yeah.
They're giving you the N1. That to me, I saw that for the first time get called today against St. John's, I believe. I don't remember it in previous games. And it's funny because my dad didn't know it was a foul. He was like, "Why the hell is he going to the line?"
Yep.
Like they're giving continuation now. He's like, what?
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I've always thought that it just didn't belong in college basketball. And maybe it'll grow on us, but I don't like it.
One thing, like, okay, if you're going to give us that, take away the possession arrow. Do the jump ball. Yep. I would much rather have that, the jump ball, than the possession arrow than continuation foul, personally.
It's strange. It's real strange. So do you know what the Johnny's looking for tomorrow at all? Do you have any, are there a list of teams that they might play?
I do not know. I mean, the way they they showed a quick little graphic. And it looked like it could be like based off of AP rankings, how many points you scored.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Could we play Gonzaga? I mean,
but you would think with a win today, they're going to get a pretty dang quality opponent.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Tennessee is in action against Houston.
Okay.
Could it be Tennessee? I mean, I'm also just kind of.
That would be a good matchup.
Michigan, Auburn could be another one.
I would just like to see them get at least like maybe a bottom top 25 type of team.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping they at least get a ranked team, something like that.
Yeah, because I'd like to see them go up against a ranked team because we're off until December 6th. Then we play Ole Miss. So it's like.
Yeah, you've got Auburn, Michigan players era. You've got Maryland, Gonzaga playing tonight. So you've got some good. I mean, they're all good teams to a decent degree, but you'd like to get what would be a good non-con opportunity.
Right. Absolutely, 100%.
But huge day today for the Johnnies. This felt like a good breakout game. The first time of the season, I think they really exceeded expectations.
Yeah, and I think the fan base has to be feeling good about it because it feels like with every big game up in New York and in Johnny's Nation, everyone's like, all right, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? You know what I mean? It's just the pressure to succeed is very, very high. I'll put it that way.
As it should be. I mean, you have one of the best coaches of all time with a great roster. And if I'm a St. John's fan too, I'm like, Rick Pitino ain't going to be here forever. I mean, he's, however old he is, he's got to be early mid-70s. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. So you got to take advantage of every opportunity you can get. This should be a big year. This should be a really big year. So yeah, the expectations are high, but they should be high. And it seems like you got a great response too. Like today would make me really positive because you had a tough loss against what I think is a dang good Iowa State team. You said I think a Big 12, chance to win. But you came out and smacked what I also think is a pretty dang good Baylor team. So that's a great response.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us here on the Johnny's Report. St. John's winners tonight, 96-81. Again, the first quality win of the season. We won't be coming on tomorrow for a live after whoever we play, but we will be back on. We'll shoot to be back on early next week. Look out, probably Monday. We'll put out an episode recapping the players' era for the Johnnies. So for Cap and myself and everyone at Big East Energy, so long. We'll talk to you next time.